Hello my dudes, Elliott here. I write, record and mix music, and this marks the start of a new series on my channel which I'm calling Let's Talk. This is an opportunity for me to answer some frequently asked questions from you guys, and a place where we can share opinions, geek out of the stuff that we love, and hopefully you'll learn something along the way. I recently took to Instagram, where I asked you guys what you wanted to see from me, and a lot of you said that you wanted to see my approach to riff writing. First of all, I'm flattered that you guys like my riffs. Gonna make me blush, dude. Secondly, this is a great question. I try to be an impartial listener of my own music, so I'm pretty self-aware of my weaknesses, strengths, and overall strategies to riffage. All ideas start somewhere, and I wish for my sake and yours that this was a simple, consistent process, but the fact is, it's not. The purest of ideas are the ones that you just stumble upon, typically when you're supposed to be doing something else. Sometimes these moments happen when I'm not even with the guitar or in the studio. As a result, the voice memos app on my phone is filled with hum melodies and tapped rhythms that I'll later open up in the studio to work on. I can't control when this happens, and I'm sure that some of you can relate, that usually the more inconvenient the time and place, the better the idea is. That being said, I am guilty of staying in my comfort zone, picking up the guitar and playing the same things, warming up with the same riffs. It's from here that I put my producer hat on and see how far I can push myself and the riff to make it as interesting and as cool as possible. This might be as simple as putting some variation into something that would have been the same thing repeated. This might be adding polyrhythmic rhythms and pleasing melodies on top of the skeletal idea. For the most part, the riffs I'm most proud of are the ones that bridge the gap between my rhythm and lead playing. It's musicians such as Thomas Sarek of Fall of Troy, or Mark Holcomb of Periphery who have inspired my more busy and technical riffs. However, all moments of creativity share one stipulation. Above all else, the most important thing is that what I'm making is fun to listen to and not just fun to play. I think that some musicians can be so focused on their technique and experimenting as an instrumentalist that they lose sight of whether or not what they're making is actually any good, i.e. music that they would listen to just as much as any other band or artist. With that in mind, every riff is about chasing the sound in my head. Once the ball is rolling, let's say with the bare bones of a guitar riff, I can literally hear the final product in my head. I know what the drums are going to be, I know what the bass is going to be, I know what the lead parts are going to be, I know how everything's going to sound. From there, it's just about transcribing what I'm hearing. This brings me on to part of the process, which in my opinion could be the most important part. The drums, the arrangement, and the production overall. All of these things deserve their own video, so you should hit subscribe and turn on notifications to stay tuned for when those videos come out. But here's the main takeaway. A guitar riff, isolated and unrehearsed, is never going to sound as cool as you think it does to other people. Compare that to the same riff, recorded nicely, better yet double-tracked, with a song-serving drum performance. The difference is night and day. More often than not, I find it's the stuff other than the guitar that can make the song have that finish factor. Express the full potential that you initially heard in the riff or the song idea if you want others to feel and hear the same things. I feel like I've spent enough time talking. Let's have a look at one of the clips I've posted on Instagram recently. I feel like this is a good example to look at. As one of my more notey and busy riffs, it started from my comfort zone where I wanted to branch out and go into some more unknown territory. In this case, what came first was a 4-note shape, hammering on the latter two of the first 3 notes and then playing the 4th note on a different string. That was a superfluous explanation of this. I find myself doing this kind of thing a lot, and at this point it's just a muscle memory thing. If you listen close enough, you'll hear this kind of phrase all over my playing. Let me know in the comment section if you found anything similar from a song or riff of mine. In this particular case, I really enjoyed how the last 2 notes almost bleed into each other. There's dissonance yet precision, which definitely set the tone and the theme for the rest of the riff. As a progressive metalhead, it's always a welcome choice to start the riff off playing the low string open, and this is where I started to hear where the riff wanted to go. I'm going to hit the low string open 3 times and play the aforementioned phrase twice, letting the second time just linger a little. I knew that at some point I wanted a straight 16th note run with a chromatic feel to expand upon the sharpness of the riff so far. My interpretation was this sequence of notes. I call this bit the Rock Lobster Family Guy bit. That just always comes to mind. Tell me if you understand what I mean. So I have points A and point C, And now I need point B to link the two. It's moments like this where it becomes more of a problem-solving activity. It's an opportunity for me to experiment more pragmatically and consciously. I typically want something that keeps the playfulness of the rhythm, but also isn't too overbearing melodically. If I can make this sound interesting in its own right, it's a win-win, but what I'm really striving for is something that just suits the part and makes it sound like nothing else could work here. That being said, this is what we've got so far. As soon as I heard the riff this far for the first time, I knew exactly what I wanted to happen next. It's hard to describe this kind of intuition. I knew that I wanted the bam-bam part, but my friend Lou Adams had recently shown me the thing where you play two strings adjacent to each other in a dissonance and then bend one note up so the two notes end up in unison. From here, it seemed appropriate to bring back the original 4-note phrase that the riff started on. However, this time on the second time round, I thought it could be cool if you played the same 4 notes an octave up. At this point, I'm thinking what's really going to take the riff off is some big open chords. This might make it feel like a story from start to finish. I messed around in key until I found something that I felt worked, and this is what I got. Now all that was left was to tail it off so it ends in an even 4/4, which I used some chuggy dissonance to make that work. It goes without saying that throughout the writing process, I'm trying to add my own little flair to things, like harmonies, and slides, and vibrato, but there are no hard and fast rules. I'm going to go with what sounds best. And if there's one way to describe how I write music, it's that. I go with what sounds best. This is independent from genre or instrument, and I feel like this mindset has been very productive for me as a musician. It can be really fun to try and squeeze in some technique when you're writing. Honestly, a lot of ideas start from wanting to include something I just learned, like a chord or a run on the guitar. However, if I do put something out for my friends or you guys to hear, it's because 100% I think this is the best thing that I could have made at the time. I hope that this video has answered some of the questions you might have had about my approach to riff writing. I do feel like I've only scratched the surface on this topic, so please do stay tuned for more videos on content like this. Let me know what you think in the comments, your own insights, any other questions you might have unanswered, or ideas for future videos that I could make. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up because it really boosts my ego. With that in mind, hitting subscribe is also going to make me feel really good about myself, so definitely do that. Thank you for watching, my dudes. Bye bye!